Hey, I'm your host, Tony Fraser-Jones, founder of the Profitable Tradie Podcast, and today we're doing something super special. I've actually ditched my good mate and co-host, Phil Smith, and I've got a special guest for the podcast, which is my other good mate and actually my business coach, Taki Moore. So, Taki, welcome, mate. Awesome to have you here. How are you doing today?
So much for having me.
You doing well?
Amazing. We just got back to Noosa from Miami. So super culture shock. I've gone from like silk shirts, white pants, not me, everyone else, to a dirt track in the bush, and it's gorgeous.
So where are you actually hanging out today?
So Noosa, which is on the Sunshine Coast of Australia, so kind of top right-hand side, not all the way to the top, a little bit up. Noosa is this amazing place where the surf beaches and the national park and the river meet. All of the magic's on, all of the action's on that side of the river. We're on the North Shore. It's amazing. I saw 8 kangaroos yesterday on my way in. It's the only thing that sucks about living here is there's no good coffee shops and Uber Eats doesn't deliver.
Yeah, that's a problem. Uber Eats, love Uber Eats.
Yes.
Man, so I have known of you for a long time, and we've actually worked. Well, you've been my coach since 2015. I don't know if you can actually believe that. That's like a long time. I
remember our very first call. Yep.
That's you've probably got a better memory than me. You probably laughed at what was going on in our business. I'm not sure, but it's certainly been a long time.
No,
and
I definitely didn't.
And it's actually been amazing. And like Taki's coached me and our business for a long period of time. Probably more than that is actually a friend and someone we do life with as well, which is amazing. So I thought. Well, I'm passionate about coaching, and I know how much it can help business owners. And obviously, we work with tradespeople and service business owners, and I want to help because I know that coaching can help. But obviously, we're business coaches, and I thought it might be a bit weird for me just to talk about how great coaching is because it might feel like I'm trying to sell shit to people, which of course I am in one way. But in another way,
let's be honest. Those people should buy the stuff because it'll actually help.
Yeah, that's right. And I just thought it would be great to talk to you with yourself, who I reckon, one of the best business coaches in the world. And actually what you do is you actually coach coaches. So I thought maybe just to kick off, can you talk a little bit about, what you do and how it works?
Yeah. Every great coaching business, is great because they've figured some stuff out, and ideally they point it at a particular person because then like if you're a generalist, it's okay. You can be a great business coach as a generalist, but if you work with hundreds of tradies or hundreds of business coaches, you'll learn some stuff, and you can take an idea from here and transfer it there, and everyone moves faster. So our world is we help business coaches to grow. Yeah, our job is really simple. It's like, how do we help a good human package their stuff in a way that people can get it and know what to do with it and get results. And then on the acquisition side, like how do they market and how do they sell their stuff?
Yeah, killer. You actually touched on something there which I think is massive because when we first started hanging out, I didn't actually realize it was a thing that a coaching business could do 10 or 20 or $50 million. I was like coaching businesses never do that. And I know when we're working with people, you've got, maybe you've got a plumber in WA his revenue is $800,000. And he doesn't actually believe that it's possible for a plumbing or electrical business to do $10 million. It's just not a thing. Yeah. So one of the things that's been incredible for me is to actually see, what the winners further ahead are actually doing. And it actually opens up this massive world of possibility. And to me, that's been one of the massive gifts that I've got from actually being in the community with Black Belt.
Yeah, the funny thing for me is I didn't believe it either. I remember sitting down at a hotel in San Diego with a brand new client, Dan Martell, who you know really well.
Yeah, legend.
Who's a software guy. Yeah, absolute legend. And he'd been advising on the side, but never coached or run something the way that we do. And he's like, is it possible to get this to $5 million? I'm like, yeah, it is possible. But I'd seen it 5 times. And now he's part of a community with, 100 plus people in boardroom. And we see it every day. Yeah. And so, part of it is it's a gift for our client to be able to get around people who are winning and not moaning about stuff. And part of it is great as a coach because your sense of what's possible changes as well. You do this long enough and you get pleasantly surprised.
100%. And the other thing, the great thing about being a coach, and I suppose you find this too, is as a coach, you've got a responsibility to actually keep growing your business and being successful because it's really hard to coach people unless you're, a couple of steps at least further down the road. Well, that's what I've found anyway. So if you're ever looking for a coach or an advisor, you should definitely look with someone who has a successful business because, success leaves clues. Pretty simple.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise they can give you theory or insights and good questions, but like sometimes you just want sometimes a good question is useful, but often it's like, I have got this problem, and if they can say, well, here's how to fix it, and this is our system, and these are the other 20 people who've done it in the last 30 days, and then you're like, okay, well, this gives me some confidence that I'm going to, like, if I do the stuff, it'll actually work for me too.
I think that's a huge thing because for me, and a big challenge for our members, and I know it's the same for people in Black Belt because I hang out with a bunch of them, and we've been lucky to grow, and there's a lot of people who sort of, we help out in that community as well, is that people fundamentally, they might believe something is possible. Maybe they don't, maybe they do, but then they don't believe it's possible for them as well. And when they can see other people who are just kind of like ordinary people like them, when they see that, it's incredibly encouraging.
Yeah, it's funny because we all look at the stars, and I'm sure there's, complete rock stars in your world. But some of the people who like do the best are just ordinary people who do the stuff, who just like didn't get in their own way or overthink things, and they just did it. Like some of our most successful clients, frankly, are people who like just smart enough to go, that's useful, I'm going to do that. Oh, look, that thing that they told me worked.
There's some really smart people who overthink stuff, and they try and pull everything apart, and they try and improve on what the coach gives them and suggests they do. Yeah. And I'm 100% with you there. With our members, the thing we find that works the best is the people who don't question, they just implement an action. Simple as that.
Because I think there's two steps. Like there's adopting it and adapting it, and some people want to adapt it before they've done it. So you adopt it first, and then you go, hey, I could tweak it like this and this and this. But like, dude, if you want to get some runs on the board, just take the stuff and run with it, and it'll work. And then you can go, you know what? For us, in my market, I'm gonna tweak this bit. Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
But don't adapt it before you've adopted it.
And you can't change anything till you've actually tried it anyhow. And I think that's a big mistake people make. They try and think through the whole solution before they actually put it into place. And action's where the learning happens, I think. And that's a big mistake.
Action's where the learning happens, 100%. A lot of people are waiting for perfect clarity so they can take action, but action precedes clarity.
100%.
If you can take action, then you get really clear that I'm either closer or I'm further away, and then I can adjust.
Yeah, huge. So one of the things we do in our podcast, mate, is we do a little story. So I thought I'd tell a little story about myself and our experience of coaching. So as I said, we've been working with you and Black Belt since 2015, and it's changed massively in that time, which is incredible too. So grateful for that. But our revenue has increased by more than 6 times. Our profit has increased by more than 8 times. We have a fantastic team. We've got a team of 23 odd, I think now.
Yeah, they're so good.
Amazing team. I have an incredible amount of freedom. Every year I take 6 weeks off. I take 3 weeks off, and no one really misses me that much. Nephi's here in the studio, and he's like nodding and saying you probably should stay away for longer. So that's incredible. So we've been able to generate amazing financial results and time results, which is I'm very grateful for that. And you've played a great.
You've also been able to do those two things, which are great for you, and at the same time deliver amazing client results. And one of the things that, if you listen to this and you're looking for a coach, you want to know how's their business, but you want to know how are their clients' businesses. And so like you've been able to like heaps more money, heaps more profit, heaps more time, epic team. Like you're like, I don't know them all. I know Damon, I know Phil, and I know you really well. But your clients are just leading the industry. It's epic.
That's something else that I wanted to talk about in our sort of story, because not only has it been great for us and my family and, more importantly, our clients and the impact that has in their communities, but I've actually made an amazing bunch of friends and people who understand what it's like to run a business. And, if you're thinking about getting some help in your business or a business coach, one of the things you probably don't, with respect, get is that coaches will teach you stuff and kick you up the bum when you need it. But if you can get into a coaching community where there's a bunch of other people who are like you, who have similar challenges, and some are maybe a bit further on and maybe some aren't quite so far on, you must make friends for life. It's unbelievably powerful, and it's actually a game changer. It's probably the best part of the whole thing, to be honest.
It is the best part of the whole thing. And like, it's weird because on the outside, like before you taste it, you're like, oh, I've already got friends. I don't need more friends. It's not a big benefit. But once you're inside, you're like, this is amazing. I I got a friend who lives up here called Peter Lowe. He calls himself Hot Asian. One of those two words is true. And he says, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. And if you want to go fast and far, you go with kindred spirits. And I think just the chance to get around other people, because like to be in a coaching community, you've got to be, you're already in the top 5%, right?
100%.
Like you wouldn't put up your hand and go, hey, this is really good, but I want to go better. I want to go faster. I want to be more profitable. I want more time. I want to work on myself and on my business. Like that's an elite group. And so the moment you step in and now you've got, you're not the weird one who like, you're the only one who listens to stuff or maybe reads stuff or is working, like going to courses, and like, you're not the only one anymore. You're like, everyone's weird like you, and it's good.
It's amazing. And even with the challenges that you face in business, if you can talk about, for our guys, it's talking about, that fear of pricing work where it should be, and I don't want to feel like I'm taking the mickey out of people, or I'm going to chase up people for money, or hey, I've got team members who are difficult, or how can I get them on board? I know in Black Belt we have a Facebook group where you can jump in and ask questions and get feedback, and we do the same thing in our group. It's incredible, the support and the insights you get as well. Like I don't know if you've. Yeah. I think you've said this as well, and I've probably stolen a lot of stuff from you, mate. Just quietly.
Right. I don't feel that.
So it's like imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but standing on the shoulders of giants is like a really cool phrase. And in the Facebook groups, both in ours and in yours, you ask a question, and then someone will chip in who's done this stuff. They've nailed it, and you're like, holy heck! Like that's incredible. Why didn't I think of that? It's amazing.
But that's the thing. Like you come to a coach for outside perspective and shortcuts. The thing I love most is if somebody asks a question in our group, I'm sure it's the same with you guys, like even before you've seen the post and replied, later that day, there's 6 or 7 practitioners. Like I think I was hanging out with Sean Finter the other day, good mate of ours, and he said, in my group, we don't have speakers, we have practitioners. And that's amazing. Like you got real people on the tools, in the trenches, doing the stuff, sharing, here's how we do it.
It's amazing.
Like this is the Mutual Appreciation Society.
100%. And another thing I really love about the coaching communities, both, the one that you've created and the one that we've been building is you can talk about stuff like making money and being successful, where that's often not, you're not judged. It's not it's often a thing, even with family and friends, they really don't understand. I mean, how can they? They're not, they don't have the stresses of running a business, teams, all that sort of stuff. It's actually really different. And so we think differently, and I think we need different type of help, and the support of other people in that journey is it's unbelievable, really.
Yeah, it really is. I agree.
Yep. So, man, I've got a couple of questions. What are the reasons that you reckon business owners should actually get coaching? What's the reason for actually looking at getting coaching?
I think people hire a coach for 2 reasons. Either they've got a problem that they have and don't want, or they've got a goal they want and they don't have. And it's as simple as that. It's like, how do we get rid of these problems, and how do we get the outcomes we want? And, you can figure, there's like guesswork is how most people do it, or hard work, or you can follow a framework. And the framework is just the shortcut. Like every problem that you've got is a figured out problem. You just got to go to a person or a group who's got the answers. So why would you get a coach? I think you get a coach because you want to go further faster. Yeah, it's kind of as simple as that.
Yeah, that's killer, man. I love those 3 words. So guesswork, hard work, or framework.
Yeah.
So
framework's faster.
Yeah, like framework is just like, this is how you do it. It's like paint by numbers. Follow these steps to get where you want to go. And I think our business is the same. Most people come because they've got a problem. They've got, like a stone in their shoe, or some of them have got a festering sore in their shoe, which is really giving them a lot of pain. And typically it's a financial pain, or more likely it's a stress and overwhelm pain, which just really, it's got on top of you. And then there are definitely some who are doing well, but just want to crush it quicker. That definitely lines up. What do you, how does a business coach actually help then?
I think one of the ways a business coach helps is with shortcuts, frameworks. They've figured out problems with a ready-made, like, remember that movie, The Matrix?
Yep.
And they wanted to teach Neo how to fight. And they basically just USB'd it in the back of his head. And he woke up and went, I know Kung Fu. It's like, show me. So I think there's figured out stuff that you can either, spend, years either ignoring or bumbling around, or you can just get the tactics and go use it this week. One of the things I love about our style of coaching, momentum-based coaching, is it's We're never going to look back and like beat you up for not doing your homework. It's like, hey, where are you at right now? What do you need? Do this. Let's talk next week. And people can just get some really, really kind of quick traction and momentum. So I think the first thing is shortcuts. The second thing a coach, I think, does is you're able to see stuff that you can't see. And sometimes it's solutions. Sometimes it's a bigger vision. Like we were in Miami last week, and we got this amazing client called Pia, and she's like bawling her eyes out because her business has changed in 12 months. Like now she's doing $1 million a year from whatever it was, 20 or 30K a month. And she's like, thanks for believing me. And I'm like, I could be super honest. I'm like, hey, the moment I saw you on Facebook, I knew that you were going to be one of the killers. So we can see future, we can see potential, and we can see kind of blind spots, problems and opportunities and strategy. I think that's big. And then the other thing I think a coach does is we help people go faster. Part of that is accountability. Part of that is cadence. Like in your world and in mine, there's a regular cadence of like put the tools down, look up, notice how far we've come, figure out what's great right now, where we want to go next, what the problems are, and make a plan. For you, it might be quarterly or for us, it's 3 times a year.
We should jump into that. We should jump into that because one of the things that we've introduced, which we've taken from your program, is the 6-week, planning cycle. So every 6 weeks, you do it for us and we do it for our members, is we actually sit down and make a plan for the next 6 to 8 weeks. So you've got real clear focus. So you're on track and you're actually, because the biggest challenge I'm sure that, I know that the coaches in Black Belt and our members have is time and making time to get stuff done, which is really a question of priorities. And without a plan, you're not prioritizing your business. You're just prioritizing the whirlwind and all the stuff that happens every day, which is getting to jobs or serving clients.
I think you're exactly right, dude. Sorry, I got all excited and talked over you, Tony. I apologize.
Mate, that's all right. Well, you're the guest, so I'll forgive you this time.
Thank you.
Once.
How about giving the guests some respect here, man?
Yeah, man.
So, I don't think there's anyone who's listening to this who doesn't know that, like, setting goals or making a plan is important. Everyone knows that. But nobody does it unless they're in a world like ours where everyone gets together every 2 months and we do a quick review of the last cycle and we figure out the next 6 weeks. 6 weeks is a magic time frame because it's long enough to actually, get something done, ship something in the world, improve a system, change your pricing, work on your quote system or your sales process or your team rhythm or whatever it is. But it's also short enough that you can't mess around. And so often, like, people set like a New Year's goal. For me, it's been year of the ab for like 8 years and I still got no abs. But like a year is just too long a time frame. 6 weeks is kind of this nice place where you can see the results quickly, but also you don't have time to waste. And so deliberately putting people into a process where they're supported through this process of like figuring out what they want and making a plan to get it is awesome. And that plus accountability and maybe kind of small group squads really moves people forward faster.
Yeah. There's actually one thing that jumps out at me that, and I gotta be honest, as a coach, I sometimes feel like a bit of a fraud because it's kind of easy when you've seen hundreds or thousands of people and you've seen the challenges they have and you've seen the solutions and you know that the solutions work. When you talk to people, and I'm sure you've had this too, you can actually see right into their soul and you know exactly what the problem is. You know what the solution is. You know exactly what they need to do. And people hear you tell them this and they're like, oh my goodness me, how did you know that? Like, this is unbelievable. And but it's actually experience. And I know for yourself, or if you're listening and you're a plumber or an electrician or landscaper or whatever, putting a project together is easy for you. You just know stuff. And it's the same with a coach because you've just seen so many hundreds of businesses and situations that you just know stuff. And it's kind of easy to see what needs to be done. I don't know if you feel like that, but I do sometimes.
And it's not, it feels like magic, but it's just experience.
100%. So one thing that I thought might be helpful for people who are listening and be good to get your steer on this is, if someone's thinking of getting some help from a coach or a business advisor type person, what do you think they should actually look for when they're doing their, I don't know, you call it due diligence or looking around? What are some things that are really important to look for so that you get the best possible outcome?
the first thing I would say is industry experience. It's okay to be in a general program or working with a generalist coach. They're going to teach you generalized principles, and then you're going to have to figure out the implementation. It's just quicker to go to someone who knows your business. So, like if you're a business coach, there's not many places in the world better than our place. If you're
there's none, mate, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. I was just trying to be humble. I didn't believe it, but thanks for calling me out. If you're a tradie, then this is the spot, right? So, and it's partly because of Tony's, genius brain, but it's also because he's done this for a fucking long time and he knows what he's doing. So industry experience in it, like an industry expert, is going to really help. Number 2, are their clients winning? So I want to hear some stories from clients, and it doesn't mean you have to go off and talk to them, but if you can like watch a video or listen to an interview or hear a story about a client and see their journey, because what you're looking for is have people in this coach's world been where I'm at, and have they gone where I want to go, and was there a path? So I think that's important. I'm looking for more than conversations with a coach. I'm looking for, do they have strategies? Do they have tactics? Do they have tools I can use immediately? Like installing new software or a new app on my phone. Like, can I just download the thing and now I can get the capability? I think that's important. Is there a community I can plug into? It's okay to work with a coach who doesn't, but you'll just go so much further, so much faster with a bunch of other like-minded people who are in the same world as you, being able to like share, here's what worked for me, here's what didn't work for me, warts and all, where people are honest and open and real. Yeah. And they're happy to talk about the great stuff, but also but they're happy to talk about the failures and lessons. I think that's important. I think one of the things that doesn't come as naturally to me is the vulnerability stuff. And I know that when we make sure that people know that it's okay to share the good and the bad, then it's better for everybody, because there's a tendency sometimes in the community to go, oh, everyone else is crushing and I'm just doing okay.
That's a huge thing. We have people who don't want to share because they're embarrassed at where they're at. Or maybe we get our members to put their financial results in every month so we can track and see how they're going. And the primary reason why people won't do that is actually because they're embarrassed about where they're at, which is totally understandable. And I get that because I feel like that too. My bottom point south with that one, I think we're all the same. Yeah. But it's actually really important to be vulnerable, because when you're vulnerable, you can be helped. So if there's a community that is, creates vulnerability, I reckon this community one is huge, mate. Like there's lots of one-on-one, like coaching programs, but where you have a program where people have a group involved, it adds a dimension that I never really experienced until I was involved with Black Belt.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't know if you find this, but it's quite good it's not good for your ego sometimes, because often the members of your program are like, exactly you were great, but the best part was hanging out with everyone else. It's like, okay, ego check.
Well, yeah, I flogged my guts out to build this event, and the best part was the
guy I chatted to at dinner. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and putting your ego aside, whatever it takes to help a client win is the best.
Well, 100%.
So if they got it from someone else in that movement, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I think a community really matters. And then, like, aside from the tools and the systems and stuff, I think you want a couple of other things. I think a cadence. We talked about this a little, like a planning cadence, whether it's 6 weeks or it's once a quarter or whatever it is. Gives you a chance to like step away from the whirlwind, and kind of like part of it is just actually acknowledging how far you've come, because most of us are so busy like fixing problems or chasing goals that we forget to go, holy crap, I actually did all right. Give yourself a pat on the back.
Bro, that's I'm just going to jump in there, man, again, because it's still my podcast, so I will. Giving people a place to celebrate their wins, I think, is huge. This may sound really weird, and I know for our members tend to be pretty salt of the earth, really hardworking people who don't like to celebrate their own success too much. But that is a bit of a downside. And so,
like bragging.
Yeah. Like if you can actually get into an environment and put your hand up and say, these things went well. That's actually pretty amazing. That's one of the things I love about Black Belt as well, is sometimes you go to the events just to get a pat on the back, because otherwise you just kind of feel knackered.
I think you guys have the same process, but every one of our events starts with, let's review the last cycle.
Yeah.
And it's never what homework didn't you complete. It's what are the wins?
What are the wins?
And what'd you learn? You're like, holy crap, man, I won a lot. So I think the cadence thing is really important. And then if there's like a last thing, I'd be looking for a place, like you want a place where it's evolving, but also where there's people miles ahead of you. Not all of them, because if everyone's crushing and you're like at the back of the peloton, it feels a bit hard sometimes. But like you want some people to run beside. You want some people maybe who you can help, and some people you can aspire to catch up to, and that makes it pretty fun.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, that's one of the things I appreciate so much about what you've put together is we've grown heaps, and but there's still a bunch of people who are further ahead and doing some amazing things with their clients that we can learn from to help our clients win better. That gets me really excited.
Yeah, exactly right.
So that's awesome.
It does, because you don't want to get comfy.
If you're comfortable in business, there's a tendency to drift and things can go sideways. And if they're going sideways, I think they're actually going backwards.
Yeah, because the rest of the world isn't
100%.
stable. Like
100%.
There's inflation and there's
that's right. I mean, right at the moment, it's more important than ever. Like, it's a tough environment, particularly in the construction, based service businesses. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. So we need to be on our game, have the game face on.
So you want to be in a place where winning is celebrated, where progress is normal, where you can talk about bad stuff and celebrate a win, and where there's a bunch of people who will get alongside you and support you when it's hard, and frankly cheer you on when you're crushing and help you kind of go from one to the other. I think it's great.
It's amazing. I just want to flip this around a little bit and talk about what a business coach might be looking for in their clients or people who are going to join their program. This is a really interesting subject, and I think this is a massive one. So I'd love to get your take on this one.
Assuming that the client, demographically and business-wise looks right. In other words, in your case, they're a tradie in one of these areas, and they maybe have a certain income level. So assume that's kind of done. Then I'm looking for three things. I'm looking for ambition, like that they want to change stuff, they want to grow, and they're kind of on the front foot. Number two, they're generous. This really helps because when you've got a great community, if everyone's taking and no one's giving, it's a little bit hollow. And third, that they've got a bias to action. I think that's just huge. You don't have to get things perfect. You just have to be able to get it 80% as good as you can. 80% will give you all of the results you need. And then you're in a place to kind of tweak and do version 2. I'm looking for honest. I think it was Bill W. who started Alcoholics Anonymous, said all progress starts by telling the truth. Yeah. So like if something's great, I want to hear about it, because like there's nothing worse than you got a client in trouble and you help them out and you give them a plan and they walk away clear, and then they go do the stuff and it changes their business and they never tell you. So I'm looking like honest both ways about what's not working, and also like honest about the wins. So I want to this is like, we get paid in two ways, financially, and when we help you and it works, we want to know about it, because that's a big part of this. So I'm looking for honest. I'm looking for hunger to make things better. I'm looking for feedback. This isn't working. I tried this. This worked great. And I'm looking for do stuff, implementation.
Yeah, this is massive, and it's probably not something, if you're listening to this podcast, that is immediately obvious about business coaching, and there's almost a selection process I know that you have for taking new members on, and we do as well, client selection, and it's something we teach our clients to do. When you work with bad clients or ungrateful or unhelpful clients, it actually wrecks your business and it wrecks your will to live. And so we talk to our clients about qualifying the people they work with through their inquiry process and their quoting and bid process, all that sort of stuff. So the reason it's important for coaching is it's probably more important because the attitudinal side of it's so important. A business coach can't actually, they can't actually do all the stuff for you. You do actually have to take some action and implement. And that
it's like a personal trainer.
It's like a personal trainer.
They can't do the sit-ups for you.
Yeah, you can't. We can't generate the six-pack. You have to lift some tin, which is hard. So the attitude side of it's important. So I think if you're thinking about getting a coach, think about what they're looking for, and do you actually fit into that? Have you got the right attitude? Are you really prepared to do what it takes? Do you fit in with their niche? Now, if a coach works with certain type of people and it's not really your thing, but they take you anyway, that could be a sign that you need to be careful, because they're probably just focusing on too broad a stuff and not really narrowing it down. So we've learned a lot from you about that, and I guess the reason it's important for us, and I know for you, is that we know when we work with a certain type of person, we will make them successful, and we want to work with people who are going to be successful, and that's what that's all about, really.
Totally. I think the other part of it is probably a little bit to do with our business model, because we've got a group program. Like, forget about all the online stuff. Let's just say we're in a room together with a group of, like, let's say it's a small group, it's 20 or 30 people, and there's one idiot. Like one negative person, one person who's complaining, one person who doesn't get it, one person who It just takes one idiot to ruin a whole room.
Yeah.
And so then if you extrapolate that over the course of a year, that's why you're so careful about who do we take on as a client, because it's not just, can I help this person? It's like, will that person add to my other dudes?
Yeah.
And so I just exited a client 8 days ago who was like, ticked all of the, right niche, right, da. It's like, dude, just not in the right room.
Yeah.
So just put him down a level, and he's perfect there.
And
I did it. It'll help him, but it'll help everyone else as well. And it was the right decision. I lose money for doing it, but I gain an epic community and him in the right place, making good progress.
100%. And the way I sort of phrase this for people who are talking to us is like, well, if you have a team member in your business who's not good, who's like the rotten apple in the barrel, it's the same thing. You got to get rid of them, otherwise it wrecks the whole basket of fruit goes off. The vibe is not good. So I think that's massive. So if you are involved, like the people that you work with, people involved in coaching programs, and I mean, you've worked with thousands of business owners, so you've got a great coaches who then work with thousands of business owners. How do you get the best out of being coached if you are in a coaching program?
One of the things that we do in our 6-week cadence, as well as like looking at the projects and the work and the wins, is we do a quick little review. And we just put people, like, there's a 4-point scale, and we say, hey, in the last 6 weeks, how have you played? Have you been in the driver's seat? Because as a coach, if you think about like a rally car, you're kind of like the co-pilot, pointing out shortcuts. There's a thing coming up here that you might not have seen. Turn hard here, accelerate here. So are you in the driver's seat as a client? Are you in the passenger seat, getting taken somewhere, maybe a little bit passive? Are you in the back seat, going, or are you like in the boot or the trunk for our North American friends, like kicking and screaming, being taken in a direction? Like, how have you been playing, honestly? Or have you been luggage, And so we just go, hey, how have you been playing, honestly? And people will say, I've been driving, I've been passengering, I've been backseating, or I've been luggage. Luggage is my favorite, makes me smile. And people will say, I've been drunk driving really fast, or okay, well, that's just like, let's just check. And where would you like to be? I'd like to be in the driver's seat. Okay, cool. What are 2 or 3 things you can change? And so you can start with the best of intentions and go off track. Or part of our job as a coach is to get you playing the game at your highest level. And so every now and again, we're going to check in and go, like, how you driving? When somebody starts to work with us, we have 3 rules. And if someone can live these 3 things, they're going to do great. And if they've ever gone off track, it's usually these 3 things. We call them the 3 quicks. You need to be quick to implement. You're not here to learn stuff. You're here to make your business better. We want the learn-do ratio to be like 10 or 20% learn a new thing, 80% get it done and report back for the next thing. So you're quick to implement. And we say, this is what that looks like. Are you cool with that? And they'll be like, yes. Number 2, quick to ask for help when you need it. And this is important. It would kill us as coaches to find out that you got stuck on something for 3 months and didn't ask, because that's 3 months of progress you just missed out on because you weren't you couldn't put your hand up. So are you cool to put your hand up and ask for help? And we tell them how and where. You ask in the Facebook group, you jump on one of the calls, and then quick to share wins and lessons. And the first 2 help you as a client. The third one really helps the community. If you're happy to share the wins, here's what worked. Borrow my stuff. And like you, we've got a really generous community that will share, like, here's my whole system for this, or here's my job position for that. But also share the lessons. Like if you step in a puddle, tell us there's a puddle there, how you stepped in it, how much it sucked, and what you did differently, so that we can all avoid stepping in the same puddle. So like if you're joining a program, if you can be quick to ask for help, quick to implement, quick to ask for help, and quick to share wins and lessons, you're going to do great.
Yeah. And
every now and again,
we've unashamedly stolen that from you, which is like those 3 quicks. So if you do that, you crush it. And there's one other thing that we talk about is butt face. When you make a suggestion to someone and the arms get folded and they're like, oh yeah, but, or oh, that won't work where I live, or oh, my business is different, or I'm different. Look, we all feel like that, but you're not. You're not. And sometimes I get accused of being too blunt, but I don't care, because sometimes the blunt medicine is what's needed. If you're listening, that's said with love. So butt face is another thing that you got to get rid of if you want to be in a coaching program, because if you do that, you're actually shutting yourself down from learning and taking action, which I guess it ties in with being quick to implement.
If I could be honest about it, I'd just say, you've joined this thing because there's a change you want to make. And if you're going to make a change, you've got to be, you can't just keep doing what you've been doing and expect it to get different. It won't. And so the only way for it to get different is by doing something different and being open to it. So butt face is like, I don't want new ideas and I'd like everything to change for me. It just doesn't work like that. Yeah, so 100%. I think butt face is out and a little bit of open-minded is in.
Yeah. So what are some of the biggest things that actually prevent people from being successful when they have a coach or in a coaching program?
Not putting up your hand when it's not good.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, there's a tendency like, oh, it's not good. And I feel a bit embarrassed about it, so I won't ask for help because I don't want anyone to know that I'm struggling. And so you end up like shying away from the one place that'll help you. We just tell our clients, run to us, don't run from us.
Yeah.
You'll be amazed at how your coach and how the other people in the community respond. They'll be like, oh, that happened to me too. Or I'm going through a tough time myself. Or I just fixed that. I'm really glad you brought it up. Do you want to jump on a call and I'll show you what we did? But like not putting up your hand when it hurts and kind of disengaging, they're the two things you can do to fuck it up. If
you kind of let the whirlwind get on top of you and just don't ask for help, if you're struggling to actually get the projects done and you can't do them, just reach out for help. That's huge because that's why you have a coach to help.
Yeah. Another thing that's been really big for us is homework. So I've got ADHD. I don't love homework. And so as much as I can with our clients, I'll get them to do the stuff live on the call or at least get it started. Like if you go, I can give you an idea and then you're off on your own, but on your own, it's already busy out there. Like you're giving us an hour. If I give you homework, now that's another hour or 2 or 3 I've got to find. So that if there's a spectrum and it's like, here's a good idea, off you go. The other end of the spectrum is we just spend an hour together and it's finished. And somewhere in the middle is I clear about the finish, but I've also got it started and I've got some momentum. One of those two places where we want to get to. And so part of our job as a coach is to get you moving live on the call and not assign you like 50 million things out there on your own.
I love that about I love that about Black Belt.
Yeah. And it's basically built. It's like, well, what would actually help me win? Well, just do it with me, dude. Like I was on a call a couple of weeks ago. The guy's like, I just need to spend the next 2 weeks and design out my course. I'm like, well, you could, but we could spend 10 minutes and do it now. Is everyone okay with that? Yep. I'm like, great. And he's left. This is amazing. And he's got a plan. And he got an investor in. It's super good because we did it. So your question was about what hurts. I think disengaging and not putting up your hand is one.
One thing that we found massive for our clients is with time is early days, we actually spend a little bit of time on time management. I hate the word time management because that's bollocks. You can't manage time. It is what it is. But actually personal management, because I've never met a client who can't become a little bit more organized and find a couple of hours or 3 hours a week to actually
100%.
Start making some changes. So often you need to start with the very thing that's the biggest challenge. And we find that that's huge. And I know you guys have definitely helped a lot of the coaches with that as well.
Yeah. So just like you, in our first week together, we carve out a day. Like not a day with us, but we help people find an extra work day a week. And some people take it as a whole day. I'm going to work Fridays on my business and the rest in my business. Others do 2 half days a week, and some just take like 2 hours each day. But if you can find some time for you, and if you've got a team, you and your team to like work on it, it's an accelerant. Otherwise, you're just trying to squeeze it in the margins, and stuff in the margins doesn't get done.
100%. Man, this is amazing. Like we could talk for ages. Obviously, both passionate about this stuff, and it's good fun to jam.
A little bit.
This has been awesome, man. Look, I've really appreciated your help in our business and that ripple effect which has allowed us to impact our clients, and then that impacts their families and friends, and that goes right out into society. And for me, I'm just passionate about helping entrepreneurs actually be better at running their businesses. And for us, it's in the trades and the construction service businesses, because small business owners, medium-sized business owners actually drive this whole economy. And so I think the work that you're doing, I don't know if you realize what a big impact it has. And man, I've been really grateful to be part of your world. So big thanks, man.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, it's an absolute joy. I think you're right. Like everyone talks about the economy, like it's some macro thing, but like the economy is really some dude has a leaky tap and a plumber fixes it and they give the plumber money. And if you just like take the plumbing industry, it's just that times all the plumbers and all the leak, you know, all the stuff.
Yeah.
And so the work we do really does make a difference. And it's kind of fun to be part of it.
It is, man. So love your work, man. Can't wait to catch up real soon, and really appreciate your time today.
Hey, I hope you liked the video. Check out all the other videos in the channel and like and subscribe.